Welcome to the Obsessed or Not Interested podcast. I am your host, Mindy Wonder-Quario, and I'm a small town go-to girl next door who is obsessed with helping others see more for themselves so they can thrive in all areas of life. I love researching all the things like wellness, mindset, relationships, you name it. If I'm obsessed with it, I get hyper-focused on it and I research the crap out of it, and then I share it with you. If those are things that you're also obsessed with, then keep listening and let's become new best friends. So there's more questions I want to ask, but I want to really switch gears and talk about fertility because I know that is something you're so passionate about. You've helped so many women in this area, and there are so many women right now that are struggling with this and are being told things like, you're never going to have kids or you can't have kids. I know another doctor friend a mutual friend of ours that's a doctor, Dr. Patrick, his wife was told they'll never have kids. And then they turned around and had four beautiful, healthy daughters. So with that said, let's just start there. When a doctor tells somebody that you're unable to have children, should women truly believe that and take that as gold or no? What's your take on this?
And so that would probably be in that unexplained infertility diagnosis, which I think is just a really lazy diagnosis on the doctors that are giving it. That simply means they don't know why you're not conceiving. So then you get that diagnosis that tells you nothing at the end of the day. Does that mean that you have to have IVF or do you have to have donor eggs? That tells you absolutely nothing. So the goal is to figure out, and that is my job, is to figure out why conception is not happening naturally. Again, is it some type of underlying pathogenic infection? Is the gut like not functioning optimally? Because that really has a huge impact on hormones and fertility. There's a lot of emotional things that can be affecting it as well. That's not my specialty, but if I find that someone is really dealing with emotional burden that could be affecting it, then I will find someone that they can add to the mix to make sure that that is being taken care of as well. Are they maybe just not ovulating? Is there issues with the whole HPA-O axis where their brain's not communicating properly with the adrenals or the ovaries? And that's where, like we talked about the herb before, Vitex actually helps restore that communication. Instead of going into the most aggressive treatment first, which would be a procedure like IVF, why not go back to the basics and think about, let's lay a strong foundation so that, for one, you're healthy going into pregnancy. Because if you're not going in healthy into pregnancy, you're probably going to have a shitty pregnancy, honestly, and your postpartum period is going to be a complete train wreck. So you want to make sure that you are as healthy as possible going into that. And also, this is one of the biggest reasons why I do this work, is because we can have an impact on your baby's future health by working with your health 3 to 4 to 5 to 6 months before you even ovulate the egg that you will conceive that baby with. So as that egg is going through those stages of development, 3 to 4 months before you even ovulate the egg, you are affecting the DNA of that egg, which would be the DNA of your baby, because you're affecting the mitochondria of that egg. So all those developing phases where you have this teeny little egg cell, and for 3 to 4 months, it's being developed, and all of a sudden it's going to be ovulated. Those 3 to 4 months before you even decided to conceive, you are still affecting the health of your baby, like long-term health.
Wow. So if you know somebody that has trying to have a baby or thinking about it, or they're young and that's the route they're on, is that send them this podcast. These are things that I wish that I knew. You know what I mean? I just didn't know. And when you know better, you do better. So make sure you're sharing this, especially if you have a lot of women friends on your social media. Put this right up on your story, because there could be somebody struggling, a woman struggling right now. And don't you find that these women feel shameful? They don't want to share it?
Yeah, that's unfortunate. That's why I always say when I'm putting posts or reels on social media, like, please feel free to DM, because a lot
Private.
of women don't want to comment, and that's completely fine. I don't care how many comments I have under that. I care about if women are hearing that message and sending me a private message, because you are dead on that they don't want to have their name out there. And I even have women that I work with that have like fake accounts, because they don't
Aw.
want other women to know what they're, maybe pages that they're following, or, things that they're liking or seeing come across that screen.
That is actually, I could see myself being that way if I were in the same position.
Mm-hmm.
You just, it's not true, but our minds can have these negative thoughts, and you can go to that dark place where you're like, I'm broken. How come and then all of a sudden there's something called the RAS in the back of your brain, reticular activating system.
Mm-hmm.
Once you see something, it's more in your awareness. Like the red car theory. You think about a red car, see a red car, now
Yes.
all you see are red
Yes.
cars. All you're going to see is people having babies and getting
Mm-hmm.
pregnant. That's going to
Yep.
be, and then the algorithm somehow attacks your
I
thing.
know.
It's awful. So I
It
feel
is.
so bad for these women. And I love that you're a safe space for them, that they can talk to you privately. So, guys, make sure that you're sending this to people, you're sharing it to get this information out. Because that's the next question I'm going to ask you. Are there things that these women can do to help their chances if they're going
Mm-hmm.
through it? And then, second part of the question, like how you were just saying, before you even think about
Yep.
conceiving, so preventing. And then
Mm-hmm.
if you're in the, you're being told by a doctor right now there's no chances, what are some things that you tell your clients that they can do to help their
I'm
chances?
going to kind of roll that into one. And I'm going to
Okay.
say, so if I were going to plan on having a baby in say 6 months, and I would plan this about 6 months ahead of time. I know that's not how this works for everyone. I'm well aware of that sometimes things are a surprise, which, that's a great surprise that God gives us. But if I were someone that was planning to have a baby in the next 6 months, so one, I would stop drinking alcohol 100%. Alcohol would be 100% out of my diet and lifestyle. I would, again, like, kind of figure out workouts and not do super aggressive workouts. I would focus more on walking and some weight training and maybe some Pilates and bar workouts, things you can get on the body.
We both use Body. Melissa uses Body
Which
too.
I literally just did my bar workout before I got on the
I
call with
mean,
you.
it literally, not to interrupt here, but that platform though, like what we are talking about with the workouts, it has it all.
Mhm. Yeah, and
Literally
I
anything.
customize workouts for women. So I'm like, okay, do you have this app? Yes. Okay. So this is what you're going to do during week 1. This is what you're going to focus on during week 2. And then I like tell them different programs or different workouts that they can do so that they're still aligning with their hormones.
And it's all in that library that you get. Okay. But anyways,
Yes. Yes.
keep
Okay. So
going.
that would be another thing, like
Okay.
focus on just movement every day. I don't care if it's just simple walking, move every day, try and get those 10,000 steps. If you're like me that does not wear the watch or anything, I just kind of guess, walk a few miles is the goal. Getting outside every day as well. We need to ground ourselves to the earth and getting some sunshine. So, 10, 15 minutes of healthy sunshine would be a great thing too. And these are simple things that most of us, we should all be doing, but most of us can be doing this if we're not already doing them.
Yeah, they're tangible things that we can
Yes,
apply. And you know what's so
simple
great?
things.
Everything you're saying, it just really brings you back to, especially if you're a Christian, this is like how God created us.
Yes,
Bring it,
that's what it is.
bring it
It's
back to
getting
the
back to
basics.
the basics. It's literally, let's try and take as many of the man-made technological things out of the equation and think about how did humans live hundreds of years ago and try and get closer to that. And your body's going to start working more efficiently again because it's how we were created. We were messing up most of our things with all this man-made crap.
Yeah.
that we're
And God's probably
surrounded with.
looking down at us and be like, guys, it's not this
It's
difficult.
it's
It's
so
so easy.
easy.
You just have to put your feet on the earth.
Yes. We're like, oh, let's buy all these expensive saunas and stuff, which I'm totally for that.
Right.
But at the same time, like, get your ass outside, take your shoes off, like, lay in the grass and let the sun hit you with no sunscreen for a little bit. And just like, yes, the benefits of just doing that are pretty extensive.
I mean, especially in there's these things they're easy to do, but also easy not to do. So I'm not saying because
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
I haven't put my feet on the earth since it started
Oh,
snowing out. Even though
yeah, it's
I can
cold.
see grass.
It's
I could
mud
do
right now,
this.
though. Yes.
There are things that I could do. I could get outside and walk. So these are
Mhm.
things helping me, even though I'm not looking to conceive. But the thing is, you have to really set yourself up every single day, reminding yourself,
Mhm.
what is the reason why? How do I want to live my life? Because the benefits of doing this 6 months in advance, if you can, or starting now, even if you're like in the thick of it, it's just gonna be you're gonna be so grateful. You're gonna look back and be like, "That was so worth it that I removed alcohol, started working out, did all these things that I heard on this podcast," because they're easy to do, also easy not to do,
Mhm.
but they make a huge impact on your
Yes.
life and your future of becoming a mother. So, okay, so what is
And
that is
as far as like eating, that's one
okay,
thing.
yes.
Nutrition can be really, really tricky because there's so much stuff out there. We already talked about how to, eat according to negating the such a blood sugar spike. So you start with your non-starchy veggie, your protein, and then your carb. I'm not talking about like, let's look at labels and think if these crackers are organic or non-GMO. Like, this is real food that we're talking about. Eat as much real food as you possibly can. Eat as much food that you don't have to look at the label and figure out what all these darn words mean. Broccoli, you don't have to figure out the label on that, right? I mean, I
Mhm.
would shoot for organic or non-GMO, whatever, if possible, for most of these produce items, if that's within reason. Shopping off the Dirty Dozen Clean 15 lists and making sure that you're avoiding the things that have a lot of pesticides, like your berries and greens and such. But literally just focusing on real food. It doesn't have to be as complicated as we make it. Real
And then
food.
also it's less that you have to learn. Like, when you're like,
Yes.
"Oh, I have to learn the keto diet." It's like
Yeah.
so much
It's
information and so much
yeah.
rules and whatever. At least this, it's just like, okay, nothing with ingredients, just like
Yeah.
basic. It's so easy to live your life that way.
It is. Yes,
So
it really is.
simplify it.
So simplify your food. Don't make it more complicated than it is.
Okay. Is there anything else that you would tell somebody who is, in the thick of this to
Mhm.
help their chances?
Especially with women, we think about all the stuff we're putting on ourselves,
Okay,
right? Like,
chemicals.
simplify your skincare and your beauty routine. Like, both of us, we don't have a ton of makeup on. That's just how I am every day. Like, I have a little bit of bronzer on, just very minor stuff. And I'm not saying someone has to stop wearing makeup altogether, but maybe try and simplify or look for companies that have better ingredients. The EWG app, Environmental Working Group app, you can like scan product labels and it will give you scores and tell you things that may not be good for you. I really like the company 100% Pure. You can literally read everything on their label and it's like
Mhm.
words that There's not weird, crazy chemical words. And I know there's a lot of companies out there that say, oh, all of our stuff is, natural and made from plants. And I look at this word that's this long and I can't pronounce it. And I'm like, okay, maybe like 10 chemical processes ago, this was a plant, but you've changed the makeup of that plant so much it's no longer recognizable by a human body.
Yeah.
So
Time out real quick. I want to talk to you about the Hyper Focus Journal. This is a journal that I've been gushing about on my podcast over and over and over. So, something that I used to struggle with anytime I wanted to start something, whether it be a new workout program, a new business, whatever the thing is, I would always be waiting to feel motivated to start. When the reality is, what I've learned is that action creates motivation. So, all you need to do is like literally take the first step And the first step could be getting the hyper focus journal and just starting slowly but surely creating that morning routine. You guys already know this about me, but I went from being broke, shy, insecure, on state assistance, working 50 hours a week away from my son, and just being completely stressed and overwhelmed in my life. And how I turned that all around was by changing my daily habits. And that is what you're going to get with the Hyper Focus Journal. There's no BS. There's no fluff. It's not going to take you a week or two to try to read the directions and figure out how to use the dang thing. It's very straightforward, to the point, and it gets the job done. This is the planner that you're actually going to use. With the Hyper Focus Journal, it's going to help you in so many ways. It's going to help you gain confidence, change your mindset, have peace and calmness, stop feeling so scattered daily, feel more accomplished, and get focused. Okay, let's just get to the point. What is this journal inside? So you're going to get my full goal setting system. It's a 5-step process. I'm telling you, the most basic step-by-step guide on goal setting that you've ever seen. And then you go into the daily pages, and on the daily pages, it's going to prompt you to do affirmations, gratitude. I'm going to teach you how to create and pick your hyper focus goals. And then you'll create a hyper focus to-do list and then just a regular to-do list every single day. It's going to keep you accountable. It's going to build those daily habits, and you're going to be able to 10x your goals. Oh, and last thing, it's really cute. There's 2 different covers to choose from. One is like this dreamy ocean vibe, and then the other one is like this very chic, bold, professional red. They are both 7 by 8.25 size. And what I love about that is it's big enough to use. It's not like a notepad, but also you can throw it in your purse. You know what I mean? So it's not too small, not too big. So you have that daily hyper-focused to-do list every single day, wherever you go. That is why I love the Hyper-Focus Journal. I made this for myself, and if you're like me, I created it for you too. So just head over to hyperfocusmentor.com and use the code OBSESSED at checkout to get free shipping off your order. Again, that's hyperfocusmentor.com and use the code OBSESSED for free shipping on your journal, and you can order yours today. So you just got to, again, I guess everything you're saying, keep it
Simplify.
simple.
Yeah.
And even if you're like, I really like to wear makeup and stuff like that, I get that. Just for the time being. It doesn't have to be forever. Maybe you'll adopt this lifestyle and be like, I can't. Actually, what happened to me is when I found out my daughter Lily had autism, that I had all the chemicals and Tide and all the things. I wasn't this, even though I was in the wellness space, I still wasn't this, I thought I was healthy. You know what I mean? And then having that diagnosis and doing the research, I like removed everything from my house. So then when I go someplace where I'm around somebody with perfume or whatever, it actually, Joey makes fun of me. I'm like, my throat's closing.
Yeah.
He's like, your throat is not closing. I'm like, no, it is. Somebody must have perfume on or wearing Old Spice.
Or you go into someone's house and they have like Glade air fresheners plugged in.
I
I
know.
literally walk in and I get
Hurts
a
my
headache
throat.
and I feel sick, and I just like, I'm going around and trying to find them. Sorry that I'm unplugging your air fresheners, but I can't be here if they're
Yes.
going and opening doors in the middle of winter.
This is
I do
the
this.
other side of the spectrum, the other end of the spectrum.
Yes.
We've gone too far, people. But you know what? I'm just saying you might go and start doing these things that she's talking about to help you, and then you probably won't go back, or if you do, you
Yes.
won't go all the way back.
Exactly. Because then your body's going to tell you like, oh my gosh, that thing is toxic. Please, please remove ASAP. Your body will give you those signals.
And you'll also realize like your skin just looks better. I swear I had acne. I swear people, and I'm not saying I have great skin, but people ask me on social media, weekly, daily, whatever, what skincare do you use? What this do you use about my skin? I'm like, it's baffling to me. If you guys go back, I don't delete photos, go back in my social media. My skin was not great until after Lily's diagnosis of autism because I removed it all. And then my skin was like, oh, I'm not embarrassed of my skin anymore. I don't even have to wear a ton of makeup or whatever. So anyways, that's just keep things simple. What is there
Yes.
anything else? Okay, removing chemicals, anything else?
Sleep again. I know we had
Okay.
talked about that before. I'm always going to come back to that sleep factor. That's
Yeah, and
huge as far
stress.
as healing and stress. Yes.
Because
Those
that's
are
something that people
big
forget.
ones.
We're like, you're stressing over this and it's so, I can't even imagine, but you're stressing over what you're dealing with and the shame of it or the whatever you're dealing with it. Cause I'm sure every woman processes it differently, but we gotta, that's when you gotta, in my opinion, and I know you agree with me, we gotta turn to God in those
Mhm.
times because he will take your anxiety. He will just, I always do this visualization where I visualize God, like me going to a stream with leaves everywhere and God telling me, take what are you worried about? Put all your worries and anxiety one by one on these leaves and let them go down the stream. And then I picture Jesus taking my hand and walking me back into the woods. And then I'm walking onto God's hands. And then God telling me, I have this. You're in the
Mhm.
palm of my hands. And I swear it's like an instant release of anxiety and worry and all the things. Cause I still get worried about things when it comes to my children and stuff.
Oh, of course. We're moms,
We're
right?
moms.
We're
And
not
so
asking you to not have any feelings, but there's a difference between having full blown anxiety and having, kind of like panic attacks and being a worrying mother that we're worried about our children when they're not with us, especially. Of course, we're going to think about them and, sometimes worry about if this could happen or if this could happen. I think there's a difference between normal mom worrying and actually having like full blown anxiety about it.
for sure. And not letting it consume you.
Correct.
Find tools like my little visualization thing, whatever that is for you, reading your Bible, whatever that is for you. Find ways to work through it because again, this is going to help your chances of conceiving. Okay, so I
Mhm.
know you got to get going soon, but I just have one more question. So say I was actually two more questions, but we'll go quick. What if I was coming to you and I told you, "Hey, I've have had a miscarriage or multiple miscarriages and I feel hopeless."
Mhm.
What would you tell me?
That's a difficult one because I do get a lot of women that come to me with this, and I just explain to them that unfortunately we cannot change those losses, but my goal is to prevent further loss because I don't care if that baby was 6 weeks along or 12 weeks along or it's still a life. It was still a baby, right? To me, that loss still hurts and there's still emptiness there. So just letting them know that my end goal is to prevent that from happening. So we are going to dig deep to figure out why this is happening because there's some type of an imbalance. And unfortunately, in the conventional medical system, usually they do not do anything for these women until they've had 3 losses in a row. And then they start trying to figure out why this is happening. Yeah, I won't even go into that.
Mm.
But it's literally just digging deeper, doing some testing on them and really figuring out the root cause to why their body is doing this. And it's not always them. It can be husband has some issues with sperm as well. So sperm or semen analysis is also really, really powerful to see if there's abnormalities. So when I'm working with women, if they are open to me giving some recommendations for husband, then that is something that I will do. And a lot of it is just, let's clean up diet as well, clean up lifestyle, add in some healthy supporting supplements, get the darn cell phone out of the pocket as well. Oh my goodness, does that have such a negative impact?
Oh, I tell Joey this all the time. And I mean, we're not looking to conceive, but I'm like, dude,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's
And my
still,
son, I tell my
yes.
son that I'm like, Lane, you can't, oh,
Yeah,
stresses
it's
me out.
it's not good. So yes, the goal is to figure out the imbalance so that we can prevent further loss. And I feel like I've had pretty good success with that with these
Yeah.
women,
And
thankfully.
I think what I just love about you is that you care so much. And this is really your obsession. Like you're obsessed with
Mhm.
helping these women. And it's so refreshing from going. I just did a podcast. I'm sharing this completely different, but sharing when I found out Lily had autism and that doctor, no fault, not bashing anyone, but he said, She has autism. There's nothing you can do. She probably will never speak again. If she does speak, she's only going to like all of this hopelessness.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what these women are hearing that are
Yes.
struggling to conceive or have had miscarriages. And then they're being told, you got to just go do IVF. And we don't know if that, like,
Yeah.
it's so much hopelessness. So coming to you, you're the hope. You know what I mean? You're the hope and you give the tools and the care and just even, hearing from you, I think that immediately knowing that there's hope and solution immediately lowers their stress.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know even for me, when I started researching myself and talking to people, I'm like, oh my gosh, there is hope. That wasn't true. That wasn't a
Mm-hmm.
death sentence or a end all be all statement that he was telling me. He was wrong. He was
Yes.
wrong, Lily speaking
Very
in
wrong.
sentences. So I guess the message I just want to say is that whether you contact Dr. Melissa or not, there's hope. And I think that's what you share every single day on your social media. You just want people to know that.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Yeah,
love that.
absolutely. And the human body was created perfectly.
Yes.
and
God is good,
it
man.
and it can heal itself under the right circumstances. We have the ability to heal with the right tools under the right circumstances. We just have to figure out what those limiting factors are. And your body can do miraculous things because that's how we were created.
Yep. And a lot of times people are just wanting to stick a band-aid on something. Nothing wrong with that because I was that person. But really, if you think about it, it's really common sense. Like everything we said today is really like God's way. God,
Yeah.
simple. Think common
Mm-hmm.
sense. Get to the root of the problem, and then let's go from there to see what we can do. So much hope. So last
Yeah.
question. I'd like to
Yeah.
ask everybody this. You're gonna have to think
Mhm.
because it's on the spot.
I
Well,
never
everything.
listen to the end of your podcast, I guess, because I'm gonna be open. I usually get like the bulk of it, and I
Yeah.
probably have never heard this, so now I'm like, damn, I'm on
Well,
the spot
actually,
100%.
I just started doing it, so it
Oh, okay.
probably is new for I may have to have like one other episode. Okay. So in your department, in your like fertility, wellness, holistic health, all that, fitness, whatever, what are you obsessed with right now and what are you not interested in?
What am I obsessed with? I would say I'm obsessed with, oh, this would be a new one. I'm just gonna hold up the book.
Fast like a girl. I was going to
Yeah.
ask you about fasting. We're going to
Yeah.
have to do a whole episode on
That's going to
that.
be another one that we can talk about fasting and when you're cycling and not. So Dr. Mindy Pels is, oh, she's brilliant with that. I like the way she lays things out. I like then taking what she's putting in her book and then finding the research behind it and then understanding unique cycles because everyone's got differences when they're cycling. So being able to take that and maybe look at someone's Dutch test and formulate certain days that they could try and dip with some fasting techniques. So I think
Okay.
that can be super powerful.
Fast
Um,
like a girl. And who is the author?
Dr. Mindy Pels. So she's
Okay.
also a chiropractor, like turned functional medicine. So of course I adore her just
Obsessed with
because,
her.
yeah.
Okay, I like that. Okay, and then what are you just like not interested in?
And not interested in.
You're like, I could go on and on and on. I mean, I
Yes.
know I could. I am not interested in the government. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, I mean, I could go on about that. Oh goodness, these are really difficult ones,
I
aren't
know.
they?
That's okay. I
Um,
can I can edit your think time out.
well, that's good. I would say I am not interested in the conventional medical treatments at this
Okay.
point.
Same girl. Same.
The goal is to start very conservative and then that is, last thing on the back burner.
Right. I mean, I'm not going to go to Dr. Melissa for my broken arm. Well, maybe I would to get adjusted. But you know what I mean? I'm going to go to a doctor to get if I
Yes,
had a broken
yes.
arm. But
There's
like
obviously a time and place.
it's a time and place. That's how I
Mhm.
feel. And it's the last resort. Like I'm not running my kids to the doctor for every sniffle. That's insane to me. I have a whole supplement cabinet in here. crazy. Can you like her and I were
Cabinet, I
talking.
have a whole closet.
I had a closet too, but we were talking about this. So I had a house fire in case you didn't hear that episode. And Dr. Melissa and I were texting. I was like, dude, I lost all my supplements out of
Oh,
my supplement closet. But anyway, so that's just a side note. So I love that. I love it. Thank you so much, dude.
yeah,
This
you're
was amazing.
welcome.
Can you just tell everybody how they can contact you? You said tell us your website, your Instagram, anything.
Yes.
How can they
Yep.
contact you?
So I'm on Facebook and Instagram, but if you look at my Facebook, I have not been active on there for a couple of years. So Instagram is just Dr. Melissa Vandermissen, and my website is thedrmelissa.com. That is where you can fill out application to work with me. But if you just want to learn a little bit more and see if I'm, up to the job to help you out, then take a look at my Instagram and you can kind of get in contact with me there.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for doing what you do, doing God's work, helping us women when we're told all this other crap and there's so much information out there. Thank you for giving us very simplistic, straightforward advice and actually coming from a woman. I love that. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Melissa. Make sure you go stalk her on Instagram and we'll talk to you next week.
Thank you.
Seriously, thank you so much for listening to this episode of Obsessed or Not Interested podcast. I love connecting with you on social media. So if you guys want, please shoot me a DM at either our podcast Instagram, which is at Obsessed or Not Interested, or even my personal Instagram, which is at Mindy Wender. I check them both, so either is fine. Oh, and truly, if this has helped you even 1%, if you could do me a huge solid and leave me a rating and review, that would mean the world to me. When you guys do that, here's why I really love it. It's because it helps the podcast be able to reach more women who want and need this. So truly, that is like the best compliment you could ever give me, is just leaving ratings and reviews for this podcast. Anything that I talked about in today's episode, any links or resources, you will find that in the show notes. Thank you for listening to today. Can't wait to chat more in the DMs, and don't forget to tune in next Tuesday.